All right, here we are. Checking to make sure everything looks okay, sounds okay. Welcome to the live stream. Today is Saturday, March 8th, and my name is Angela Holden. I am a front-end developer and software engineer in St. Paul, Minnesota. And yeah, I guess we're good to go. I was running a few minutes late today. Let's see what's happening here, shall we? We are working on this website. I'll share my screen. We are working on this website. I'll put this in the chat if anybody would like to look at it. You know, my chat's a little weird. Hang on here. I use a plugin. This website, I'll share my screen. View. Mute. Let's see here. I think I can do it right here. It's not letting me put it in. It's saying that I'm not subscribed to the channel. Okay, that's fine. I'll put it in down here. I can't pin it. I'm still figuring out the best way to manage the chat. It just doesn't let me do some things that I think I should be able to do. I'm not sure why. So, anyways, let's go ahead and get started, get back to working on this. I have this pulled up locally. Last Friday night, we put in custom images and titles, and that was really fun. We also put in a custom logo, and that changed the entire look and feel of this web page, for me at least. It just, I don't know, it just made it a completely different site. So I'm really glad that I took the time to do that. I thought I was done, and then I realized that other than this very first blog post here with the continue reading, there's no way to actually link to any inner page or blog post from this grid of posts. So I went back to look at our mock-up, and our mock-ups don't have any indication of what you're supposed to be able to click on. So I think you can decide that you're going to click on maybe the entire thing is clickable. I know from a UI perspective, a lot of people like that, and we're certainly doing that up here in the hero. I don't love that though. I don't love making the entire container clickable. And I've been asked to do that a lot of times by like leadership teams and things like that. I just don't like doing that. I like having specific things that are clickable. So I'm going to link the titles. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to go ahead and build links for the titles. I think it's fine. I think it's fine to have continue reading. Generally, when you have things like, when you have link text that is read more, continue reading, link or learn more, things like that, that's not accessible because that doesn't actually tell somebody using a screen reader what they are linking to. So we can continue to have continue reading here, but we are going to add some hidden text for the title. So let me show you how we would do that. The other thing we're going to do is we're actually going to style these links. So we're going to find a color that meets the contrast accessibility standards. We are going to style these links a little bit more. Right now we have links, link text, like links that would just appear in the normal flow of text underlined. So I'm good with this. We have also these links here for the tagged content. We have this link here for continue reading. I would like there to be some sort of hover transition. I also think that we should do a brand color hover on the social media icons. So I want to do that as well. So let's go ahead and get started. The first thing that we're going to do is titles. That's the first thing that we're going to do. Let me do this. This a little bigger. Okay. So here's our search drawer, social icons. There's our hero. So right here, it would be these H2 secondary headings. What are the... They're all H2 secondary heading. Now H2s by default are block level elements. So we're going to go ahead and put the anchor tag inside the block level element, not outside the block level element. I think that's the right way to approach that. And we don't need to do anything else accessibility wise. The text, oh wait, I got this wrong. The text is, serves as, the text is what makes the anchor accessible. So we don't need to do anything else accessibility wise. And I'm pretty sure, yeah, that's fine. I think we should, this is the same color as this. I'm actually kind of fine with that. That color doesn't bother me, but let's keep going. So let's just grab all of our articles. Just put a hashtag in here. Yes, this is tedious. That's how it is sometimes. Sometimes it's just tedious. It doesn't really bother me though. Hang on. It doesn't bother me. It's just how it is. And I think that's everything. Yeah, so these are all linked now. That's good. Good. I mean, we don't really have a hover for these. I guess the hover could just be that the underline disappears. I'm not sure. Yeah, let's do that. So this would be this is secondary heading anchor tag. So let's go to where do we have animate footer forms header sidebar social toolkit variables. I don't remember. Oh, secondary heading. Let's look for it. Yeah, I don't know if this really belongs in the heading SCSS or probably more in main. Yeah, main. Okay. So basically it's a blog item, secondary heading, and we're just gonna go ahead and do this. So we know the links have, oh, what is it? What is it? Text decoration, text, oh, I can't remember. I guess this is what happens when you don't work on something for a while. Text underline offset. So there's offset, text underline, position, text underline. Oh, here we go. Text decoration, color. I think we want text. Let's use color. So we know right now. I guess I could have just looked here. Yeah. So text underline offset, text decoration thickness, and then we'll use text decoration color as our transform. So text decoration color. I'm going to say inherit. I think inherit. And then we want hover active focus, and then we're going to say text decoration color transparent. It's kind of the opposite. We'll see if this, yeah. So let's put a transition on that. We'll say transition, text decoration color, 300 milliseconds, ease in out. Did I spell everything right? I think so. There we go. Now we have that nice transition. That looks great. I love it. And I love that. See, this is the difference between adjusting, and I have to think, it was either Bailey or Lena in a live stream. If I'm wrong, let me know. Several months ago said, why don't you use why don't you style the text underline instead of getting rid of it and using a border, which I didn't even know was a thing. I had no idea because I've been doing it for so many years, using a border. But here's what I love about styling the text decoration. It's the ligature on the typography that sort of breaks up the line. You can't do that with a underline border. And so this makes it look really cool. I love it. I think it looks great. So this is what we're gonna, yeah, so this is, that's our hover. Yeah, I'm good with that. So we're not going to have an additional read more, learn more, continue reading. If you want a link, click on the link, you just click on the article. The other thing we could do, well, I just don't feel like it though. We could go find another color to hover and change, but I'm fine with the blue. So, and all I wanted to do was get those titles figured out. So now let's do the same thing with these links, with our regular old links. I like it. We're basically going to do the exact same thing here, which if we take this, I think if we take this, we can just go apply it to the links. Right here. So if we do this, this will work. Oh, we have to get rid of some of this. So I think we can do, I'll move this up. So I think this will work on all links now. Yep. So let's see what's happening with this. Apparently I specifically took the text decoration off. So this is blog item read more, line 147 in main. What do I want to do? Well, so for I'm gonna put the underline back on, but here's what I want to do. I want on hover, the underline disappears, and I want that little arrow to transition a little bit, that SVG. So I think we need to so I think it would be a transform, translate X on the X axis. So if we do a transform, translate X, the default value is 0. But then if we did, and the hover should be, it should be hover active focus on the anchor triggers. So we'll do hover active focus, and we want to trigger the SVG. Transform, translate X, and I want to move it, I don't know, 5 pixels. And then we need to well, let's just make sure this works first, then we can do the transition. There we go. Is that too many moving pieces? Does it need to move more? Does it need to move less? Let's try 10, and then let's put a... I don't know if the transition goes on... I think the transition goes on the SVG. So it would be... Yeah, because we're transitioning the transform. Transition... Transform... 300 milliseconds... Ease in, out. Look at that. My dog hears people outside and she's barking. Coding Professional says, hello, hello, welcome. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for saying hello. Heidi. It's okay, pup. Yeah, you're okay. Um, I don't, I think the underline here is too much. And I'm going to take the underline off and just have the transitioning SVG. So for this particular read more, I am going to say text decoration, none. Yeah. And I don't know, is 10 pixels too much? What about 8? Yeah, technically 8 pixels is half a rem. Oh, that looks good. I like it. And again, looking at the mock-up, there's no indication of what a hover active focus state should be, right? So we get to decide that. And that's pretty normal. I think that's pretty normal as a front-end developer. It is rare that I get anything beyond the mock-up itself. Occasionally, if I'm working at an agency or organization where I know the designer who's doing the work, they may come and say, oh, here's the designs and here's what I intended for XYZ. More often than not, though, I am just handed mock-ups. And it's kind of up to me. And then as I'm building things and showing things to people, I get feedback from leadership, project managers, account managers, the client about that type of functionality. But I'm hard pressed to really think of a situation where somebody really like fought me on a hover or a transition state. That stuff definitely comes up, especially at the position I was just in for 7 years. I mean, those were conversations that happened many times over 7 years, but it wasn't like a daily thing. It was just like, oh, I think we should change this transition. I don't know. Anyways, I like this. Okay, so the only other thing that I want to do is I want to add the text decoration back to these tags. So let's go find that. Yeah, and I specifically put in here text decoration none, but I'm going to take that out. So that's main 201 right here. And I'm just going to take this out. There we go. We have our little transition for our SVG. We have a hover state for our links and our titles. I like it. Okay, the last thing that I want to do. Oh, we need to apply that here as well. Where is this? So this is the pagination. Where did I put it? I don't remember where it was. Hang on. Well, I think it was here. Here. Okay. That could possibly be more efficient. Possibly. Oh yeah, we need to change the transition, and I did. Yeah, this did change. Font style. What was it before? Whoops. I'm gonna put it after. So okay. I guess I'm just gonna put this in. And then we just have to change the, we just need to change this transform value from, it's positive if it goes from left to right, it's negative if it goes from right to left. So we know that we have a pagination item. Let's see here. So we've got older posts, newer posts. So let's do this. We'll do at newer posts. And then we're going to put in a SVG. And we'll make a copy of this. And then instead of +8, we'll do -8. So it goes in the opposite direction. Whoops. Let's see here. What did I do wrong? Okay, so we've got pagination item, a SVG. Did I put this in the wrong spot? Why did I think I put this in the wrong spot? Yes, I did. Okay, it goes outside. Got it. This goes outside the SVG. Okay. It's the opposite. It's the opposite of what I just said. So wait a second. Newer. Oh, yeah. Okay. Newer. So older is negative. Newer is positive. So actually, let's do this. Change this to older. I was confused about which was which. There we go. Newer, older. Newer, older. Beautiful. Beautiful. And okay, so this is continue text or continue reading is very clearly a serif font. What are these? This is a sans serif font. That seems inconsistent to me, but it's not wrong. I think you could make it anything you want. That seems inconsistent, but I also don't think it's a big deal. But I just like observing with my own eyeballs that I did it right. Okay. So the last thing that I'm going to do is hover states for each of the social media icons. So close this. So let's do Pinterest first. So Pinterest hex color. Here's our variables. And then we have Instagram. They have a bunch of colors. So let's do, I kind of like this. And then we have LinkedIn. Let's just grab good old blue. And then let's see I think GitHub has more colors than just, yeah. Let's grab, I mean, I don't really associate green with GitHub. Could do like this orange. I don't really associate that with GitHub either, but there it is. Okay. So now let's go to we have a style sheet specific to the social media icons. So we need to, this is very similar to what we just did with the links. We need to make sure that we're defining a fill. We need control of the fill. That's the first thing that we need control of the fill. And I'm pretty sure right now it's in the markup. Or maybe it's just black. Yeah. Let's see here. If we add a fill, let's just do, let's just make them all red and see if we have control. We do. Yay. Okay. So we're going to do, we have to have a default color in for the fill. So we have our black color, our black variable. Then we need to make sure that let me think about this for a second. We need to make sure that when we hover, active focus. Oh, we need to trigger the SVG. And we are triggering the color. But we also need to make sure that we're doing, probably need to make sure that we have a custom class on each of the social icons. That's probably the best way to do this. And we have a lot of social icons, and I did not, other than this span, well, we could just do a sibling selector, but we don't know what the, I mean, we could just put a class on the sibling selector. That's probably the easiest. How many do we have? We have 11 selections. Okay, well, yeah, let's do that. So we'll do access hidden GitHub. And then we'll do LinkedIn. I think if we do a sibling selector, that's the easiest. Also 11 selections. LinkedIn. Then we'll do Instagram. Then Pinterest. So now if we do Pinterest plus SVG, as long as the SVG exists, we can change the color. So let's get one working first. So it's anchor span. So it would be and we'll start with, well, what's the first one? GitHub. And GitHub plus SVG. Fill is GitHub. Oops. And then it would be GitHub, LinkedIn, Instagram, Pinterest. GitHub, LinkedIn, Instagram, Pinterest, GitHub, LinkedIn, Instagram, I think that'll work. No. It's a sibling selector, so it would be anchor. Oh, this chains it together. So hang on, we need a space. Well, we don't need this at all. We're not chaining anything because it's a child. Okay. We're close. We're getting there. We're close. I think we should do that green for the GitHub, but okay. So now We actually need this to be on hover though. So this would actually be, let's take this and put this, oh no, it does need to be inside here, doesn't it? And then this is actually going to be, take this out. So now this will be hover, active, focus, and then we can put a transition, but the transition is the fill. So I think the transition goes here. Fill, 300 milliseconds, ease in, out. There we go. Nice. We need a different color though. We need a different color. So this feels like it could be more efficient. I'm sure there's a way to make that more efficient, but I don't think this is too shabby. There we go. Let's choose a new color for GitHub. Let's choose this green instead. There we go. Yeah, I mean, is this the green that they're calling out? This? Let's see. No. I mean, where does that green come from? I mean, not that it matters. I'm just curious. I don't know. I think of GitHub as being, I don't know. Does it matter? No. So all of our icons should do this now. Yeah. Nice. Looks great. Looks good. Oh, oops. We have to make sure that our default color for the footer is white. So let's find our footer. Social nav. I am here. Yes, nice to see you. Hello, Dano Akia. Long time no see. I love it when you're here. I love it when you're here, my friend, because you always have such good ideas and feedback. I'm so happy to see you. Yeah, I mean, the last few streams have been a little bit quiet. I haven't been seeing the usual group, which is like nobody needs to explain themselves to me ever. I feel uncomfortable if people feel like they do need to explain themselves. But if you're gone for a while and then come back, I'm always happy to see you. So welcome. Um, I am so loving this site that we made. Oh my gosh, it's accessible. It's cute. I like it when things are cute. I just really do. It's accessible, it's responsive. I think it has some really nice just like finishing touches. Yeah. So, let's figure out here. So here's our social nav. Social nav UL fill dark gray. That's interesting, right? The footer social nav SVGs. Let's see what's going on here. Oh, it was this right here. Okay, so I think this apparently this is my version of dark gray right there. So I think this just needs a little more specificity and it's fine. So I bet if we just put like an A, if we even did like that, there we go. And we still get our hover. Yeah. So if you have styles that get a little wonky, like if you're sharing styles like I am, which is a efficient way to do it, sometimes it's like, oh, I got everything else done, but I screwed up the footer. It just could be a specificity issue. Just check to see if you need to make it a little more specific and it'll probably be fine. So now we are done. Now we are done with the home page. So listen, it's like you have to done the what's the saying? Done is better than done is the enemy. No, hang on. Perfect is the enemy of done. Perfect is the enemy of done. That is a true statement. You do websites are evolving things. If you're really taking care of a website and updating your content and making improvements to search engine optimization and adding, and if you have content that is both evergreen and both timely and relevant, that means that you're always working on your website. It's always evolving. And not just from a content perspective, but you should be also behind the scenes making little improvements every time you work on your site. I mean, not literally every time. I just mean that you're paying attention to things. You're like, oh, actually that link could be better, or that hover could be better, or that thing could function differently, or I guess I don't really like that. Don't ever let those things stop you from deploying a site, because I guarantee that the things you notice other people don't notice, and that is absolutely fine. Everything doesn't have to be perfect. Everything doesn't have to be perfect. I mean, look at the Web A Million, for goodness sakes, and how the huge mistakes that people continue to make on the 1 million most popular websites. Things like contrast color, no alt text. I mean, think about the huge mistakes that big websites are making, that if you're just in a constant rotation of improvements, 1% better every few weeks, don't let anything stop you from deploying. Please get it deployed. Get it deployed. Okay, so let's go ahead and push this to Git. And then let's start writing our HTML for the inner pages. Well, let's choose an inner page that we want to actually start working on. Okay. And then let's take a peek at things in Firefox. How is the beautiful lady Heidi? And totally agree. Heidi is amazing. She's doing good. The weather is finally getting good here again in Minnesota. We just had a snowstorm this past week, but all of the snow is almost all melted. It wasn't really, by Minnesota standards, it was not really that much of a snowstorm. Um, and yeah, it's almost all melted. The weather is beautiful. It is sunny. It is warm. I took Heidi for a walk this morning and I saw somebody in shorts and a t-shirt out for a walk and I was like, well, okay. I mean, I still put a coat on and my mittens, but yeah, we're doing really good. We are doing really good. She's laying next to me right now and yeah, she's doing really good. So, my little friend. Okay, let's see how things look in Firefox. And our hovers are all working. I love our little zoom transitions. And I by no means think that I'm sure I'll come back to this homepage and be like, you know what? Actually, I'm going to update this. I'm going to change this. This doesn't quite work the way I thought it would. Totally fine. But for now, we absolutely need to move on and get into these homepage inner pages. Cold never affected me when I was much younger, but now a little cold is like a snowstorm. I'm telling you, um, the older I get, the less. I mean, here's what keeps me in Minnesota, it's my family, it's my parents who are, in their retirement golden years. Um, if my entire family wasn't here, I don't think I would still be here. And I did live in California for 2 years. I lived in San Diego from in 2014 and 2015, and I ultimately came back because of my family. I mean, I just really missed them, and I missed like my life here. But I could see myself moving someplace warmer for sure. Um, the thing that really the thing that makes such a big difference now compared to 10 or 12 years ago is that I basically work from home at this point. In the early part of my, I guess, adulthood, when I always had that 9 to 5 job that I had to get out and go to, it didn't matter if there was a snowstorm. And I can remember many, many, many times that I was like in traffic in snowstorms, either trying to get to work or trying to get home. Slippery roads. Yeah, I mean, what a nightmare. What a nightmare. So now it doesn't bother me as much as it used to because I don't have to drive to work anymore. I can stay home, but I still don't love it. I don't love it. And we had long, long stretches of very cold weather this winter. We didn't have that much snow, but we just had long stretches of very cold, dangerously cold weather. So, definitely kind of over that. So, well, I feel like things are looking pretty good here on Firefox. I don't see any functionality that isn't working the way it should. And do you see also, since we put in our own images, we don't have to wait for the Lorem Pixum images to load anymore. So now we get this nice, you can see this really soft, subtle fade in transition on the hero. And then we see the main column and the sidebar column come up. It's just really nice. I love these types of little touches. And then to scroll, and see our blog items pop up into view on scroll. Chef's kiss. I love it so much. Love, love, love. Okay, this is the type of stuff that I am really excited to do this year. This is it. This is the stuff. Let's go back to this. So let's tab through and make sure. Ooh, oh no. Okay, right out of the gate, the focus is not, we're not getting our color change on focus. Let's see what happens. Okay, so, but on our links, we did get the hover. So here it's working, and here our SVG is transitioning on focus. Those are working, not working. Okay, wait, did I not include focus? Where is social? Hover active focus. It's here. Does focus not, why would focus not transition the fill? Well, hang on. Is this a Firefox issue or a Chrome issue? Okay, no, it's a me issue. So this is triggering the transform. Wait a second. Oh, GitHub plus SVG, hover active focus. See, okay, hang on, I did this wrong. So if it's GitHub plus SVG, the hover and the active and the focus is on the SVG, not on the anchor. Okay, that's why. Because the focus is on the anchor, it's not on the SVG. So can we do... Can we trigger it that way? Okay. I have to think about this for a second. I think actually it would be hover active focus of the anchor, and then this would be inside. Yeah. This is why we test. So when you hover on the anchor tag, the child is the GitHub, which is a span, plus the sibling, which is an SVG. Huzzah! We did it! There we go. So we just have to, yeah, we just had the order backwards. So, all right. So, hang on, I'm just gonna, I know I've had to do this like 3 times. It's okay. It's a little tedious sometimes. It's all right. Okay, so this is, what is it? LinkedIn, Instagram, Pinterest. Am I getting an error here? There we go. Oh, hang on, I did this wrong too. Yeah, there is a more efficient way to do this. So when we hover on the anchor tag, we have a default fill of black, but we want to transition the fill. And when we hover, we're looking to check, we're checking to see, is there a sibling? Is there a child with a class of GitHub? That's the class with the access hidden span. And is there a sibling SVG? Then change. So I think this will work now. Look at that. Beautiful. I love it. We did it. We did it. Okay, let's write some HTML. Oh, but I do want to check Firefox again. There we go. I love it. It's taken my entire career up till this point to learn how to be thorough. It just takes so much practice. Practice, 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 practice. It takes so much practice to learn how to be thorough. So, yeah. Okay. All right, let's go back. Let's go ahead and write some, let's pick an inner page and then, well, let's commit this first and then let's pick an inner page and get some HTML going. All right. Inner pages. Yes, this is what I wanted to work on next. Yep. So we're going to call this our masonry page. So we're doing masonry again. We've already had like an entire stream on masonry, and what we learned is that it's not well supported in CSS. In my opinion, it's a hack, and the way I define a hack is basically by the amount of technical debt that I have. And in this case, the technical debt is that if you make a lot of changes to the page that you have masonry on, you I guess in my case it's going to be the height. The height has to be a fixed height for these the Flexbox columns to really work the way I want them to. And I do think Flexbox columns are the best way to approach it, in my opinion. If you ever make big changes to that page, you will have to go in and manually change the height of the page, and you'll see what I mean as we start building it here. But that is technical debt. That's technical debt. When you have to think about a hard-coded value in order for a page to continue to function dynamically, that's technical debt, and that is what I would call a hack. But it's not well supported. So you have to pick the hack that you are the most comfortable with. So I'm going to show you the one that I'm going to show you the hack that I am most comfortable with. So first, we need to make a copy of the home page, because the home page has everything that we need: the header, the search, the navigation, the responsive navigation, and the footer. So we're going to make a copy of home.html. Can I do that here? Duplicate. I think I can just do it using Finder. Duplicate. I'm just going to call it masonry. Yeah. All right. So here's our masonry page, and we'll put it, I'm just going to go ahead and put it up here in our title so we can see it. And you can see up here in the title tag, it says masonry now. So here's our header. Here's our main section. Here's our footer. So really, we're just going to take out, I think I'm going to take out the hero. We don't have a hero on this page, so I'm going to take out the hero. We have a main wrap container. I'm going to leave that. I want them to be as consistent as possible. And then we have this sidebar that we don't technically need. So let's look at this. This page isn't exactly cut in half. I mean, it's maybe we could just say it's half and half. Maybe it is. We'll say it's 50-50. So we want this featured article to be on the left, and then we want our masonry layout to be on the right. And again, we have no indication of how this is actually supposed to behave. So what I've decided is that on scroll, this featured image on the left is going to be fixed. So as we scroll through our masonry content, this will stay in view. And that is MDN position sticky. So we're going to do position sticky. Here's the thing with position sticky though. Once the parent container for this item rolls out of view of the window, so will this item. So this is only sticky as long as the parent continues to be in the window. So that's just a caveat that you may not think that matters, but I've been in a few situations where that definitely, yeah, as soon as that parent container rolls out of view, it does not continue to be sticky. So that's just something to keep in mind. So let's go ahead, let's take out the aside and we're gonna just take out most of this. All right, too much. Okay, so we're gonna have a section with a class of featured, and I don't think we need container for the one on the left. I'm just gonna call it featured. And I think we should give our body a class of masonry. That's really going to help us with styling. And then we'll do another section, and I'm going to give this a class of masonry items. Well, masonry container. That's really what it is. And yeah, we might want to go back and grab some. Oh, and here's the good news. The images that I have are all different shapes and sizes. So that's going to be perfect for this. So let's go back now to the home page and grab the markup for this kind of full width. It's this one right here. So hopefully these styles translate a little bit over to the other page. They should. I mean, that's why I did it this way. It might rely though on, whoops. It might rely on blog layout container though, which is fine. So we'll do blog layout container featured. You can have as many classes as you need. So let's see here. Nothing. That's okay. It's okay. Why isn't anything showing up though? Something should be there. Oh, do we need some? What is this, like a z-index issue? What's going on? Is this like, does this just need Z index? Let's check and see here. Oh, is it because of this? It's the animation. That's why. So we haven't scrolled yet. So we don't want the data animation because that's specifically for things that scroll into view. There we go. Yeah, so that's a good point. How do we get... I guess I was I just animating the first thing? Yeah, I was. Well, was I? So we animate the hero. So here's the first article. Oh, it didn't have a data animation. Okay. What about the, yeah, neither did. This is the sidebar. Got it. It needs to be a little more subtle. Fade in up. It needs to be a little more subtle. Let's look at animate.css. So we're doing fade in up. Fade in. I mean, we're just doing like the normal fade in. Well, I think it's too much though. Feels like too much. Should we just do fade in? Yeah, let's just do fade in for this one. And let's get the rest of our content in. I mean, maybe once we get the rest of the content in, it won't matter. Right now, I don't like it because it's doing the fade in up over the footer. But once we have the rest of the content in, that probably won't matter. So I'm just going to leave it. I'll just leave it. Okay. So our styles are working. So this is amazing. Our styles are working. This is definitely taking up too much screen. Let me adjust here. So right now this is 65%. So we do need, how much do these styles rely on blog layout? They don't. So I think if we take out blog layout, does that have any impact other than the width? It does. Okay. Blog layout. Blog item. Hmm. Blog layout. Styles. Yeah, all this does is control Flexbox, so why would that ruin all the styles? And we have the container class on, so that doesn't make sense that I have to have this. Featured blog item. Let's do a masonry page. So we'll do featured blog item. Well, but we want this to be up here. Take this out for now. Did I spell something wrong? Did I not save the page? Oh, well, I haven't added this. There we go. Okay. So the article itself gets all the styles from the blog item from the home page, which is why I spent so much time building that home page and defining those styles. So I could move things and make inner pages and just be able to add a class to a parent container and just get it all to work. So this is the exact reason why I did that. So, good. Okay, so I'm going to change this to 50%. And then the other container, so, well, I'll leave this here for now. So here's the first section on the left, and then this container is the masonry container. And then we basically want all of the blog items without the text. without the content. Yeah. So let's go grab all of these. So here's the first one. And let's just grab these. And then we'll take out. And we don't need, so here's our first. So we don't need the description. And we don't need the links. And we need to take off the I'm going to take off the data animation on the first two. Well, let's copy these first. So this has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's do 8. But for the first two, I'm going to take off the data animation. Monique is here. Yay. Hello. Monique, happy to have you. How are you doing? How's the weather out on the East Coast? Happy to have you whenever you can make it. I wonder if there's if I have to do something to my JavaScript. Yeah, it doesn't like my that's the sidebar. So here's the observer. Yeah, same. We had a snowstorm this week, but it wasn't too bad. But it is beautiful, sunny, bright, in the 40s. Perfect. Perfect for outside walking the dog. We are doing well, me and Heidi. Okay, so I don't see anything wrong with our JavaScript, so I don't know why. Animate, animated, fade in, up. I don't know why the data animation isn't triggering. It should be triggering on scroll. So clearly these things are on the page. Oh, hang on. We have a problem with our event listener. What don't you like? Oh, is it, hang on. It's probably, okay, we just need to put in a conditional here. That's all. So we just need to do if drop button. Yeah, if drop button or drop menu return. That's it. Okay, but we're still. No, that's, I'm not going to do that because I need. Stop. Oh, come on. Stop it. There we go. There we go. So by checking for the menu and then just returning to quit, it literally was stopping and not moving forward. That's why I changed it like this. So it's just a matter of checking the page to see if it exists. That's all. So, okay, beautiful. So now let's get this container. Let's get our other container. Don't need you anymore. Our masonry container, which is masonry container, is also going to be 50%. Featured. Let's just do this. And they need a little space. Let's do 48%. Yeah. And then this just needs a little styling. I mean, this isn't too bad though, right? Not too shabby. Okay, so let's look at our mock-up. The text is much smaller. Much smaller. I mean, let's compare it to it's interesting because this is clearly a serif font. This is clearly a sans serif font, and even the logo is a little different. So maybe it's not necessarily an inconsistency. Maybe it's more just different options. So let's just make the text a little bit smaller, and then let's take off the aspect ratio of the images. And that's going to make a huge difference. The other thing we want to do is, I think we have a lot of padding around the images. So in our masonry container, the secondary heading. So I want to see how this is done here first. So it's the blog item secondary heading. So instead of blog item secondary heading, I'm going to do masonry container secondary heading. Masonry container secondary heading, and my style is 2 rems. Let's bring it down to 1.5. Needs to be a lot smaller than that. Yeah. We'll do 1.25. We're definitely going to be doing some adjustments. So I think today is just all about getting in kind of this structural stuff, which I sort of had it in my head that I would be spending the entire day today just writing HTML until I literally sat down and looked at this and I was like, well, actually, all of these styles already exist as long as we're treating them like components in order to reuse them with a little bit of additional styling. So, so if we get in here, yeah, the figures have, yeah, so let's work on these images. So the figures have a lot of margin on the top. So the blog item image, so now I'm going to do, to override some of the image styles, I'm going to do masonry container image. So I'm going to take out the margin on the top. Let's do 0, 0, 1 rem. Okay, beautiful. And then I'm going to take out the aspect ratio. Well, actually, we'll just do 1 to 1. No? Not 1 to 1. Auto? I think we can just do height 100%. Well, the images are position absolute, so maybe, there we go. That was it. We want the images to be their own aspect ratio, and we'll have to switch around some of these images a little bit, but this is what we wanted. So for the figure, I honestly don't think I have to do anything for the figure. I think all I have to do is do position static on the actual image. That's the only thing I have to change. That you don't have to reverse engineer every element if one thing changes it. Oh, but maybe we do need to take out, yeah, we just take out the aspect ratio. So that's what we do. Oh, stop. There we go. So now we're going to change to think about this. So now we need to change the container and how the container right here. So the masonry container. So by default, this is flex flow row wrap. We want to change this to column. Hang on. Column wrap. I have to think about this. Do you define the columns? No, you put a height on this. This is the whole point of, this is what is the technical debt. So how big is the container? Excuse me. So 4,579 pixels. Where's my calculator? 4,579. So if we have to do a fixed height of 4,579 divided by 2, that's 2,289. So we'll just say 2,290. Height 2,290 pixels. And then we have to make sure that this is column. I have to change it back. Flex flow. And then we just need to make sure that we have different images in here. But we are getting 2 columns now because we're controlling the height of the container. And we can probably calculate that with some JavaScript. Let's see. We'll wait and see here. Let's get in some different image sizes. So we need to sort of randomize these images. We'll see if this works. Pretty close. Let's do this. See, we need to, this is the hard part, controlling the, and then, oh, and it's also, it needs to be align items, flex start, or no, wait, other direction. It's justify content, Flex start. There we go. There we go. Now align items. Stretch. Stretch. There isn't like an align items equivalent for justify content space between. So we'll just have to control the inner container with flex start, flex end, stretch. Stretch is the only thing I can think of that would be similar. But this is basically a masonry layout, right? So, okay, so let's make sure we copy this in. So justify content, flex start, align items, stretch. Column wrap, justify content, flex start, align items, stretch. I changed the height. Oops, what did I do? Flex start. Okay. Okay, so let's get the correct height of this container. So if we have no height, the container is 4495. So 4500. So yeah, that's 2250. 2250. That's what I thought. Clearly that's not enough. Technical debt, people. This is the definition of technical debt. When you have to manage a fixed height of a container in order to achieve a layout that has existed for years and is not supported by CSS. That's also known as a hack. Anytime that you have this kind of technical debt, it's a hack. So, just saying. Okay, so let's change this width to 49% instead. It broke my, oh, and I forgot to change this. Okay, there we go, a little better. And these are also 48%. They should actually be a little smaller. That looks pretty good. 46 looks pretty good. Here's the other thing that I don't like, and there's no equivalent for justify content space between where it pushes everything to the left or the right. When you're in columns, justify content controls everything vertically. So on the y-axis, if the flex flow is a row, then justify content controls everything on the x-axis. So you're changing the axis of what controls what. Align items in a row would control how things are aligning vertically. But since we're changing the orientation, align items now controls everything on that x-axis. And there's no equivalent to get the first row to all the way to the left, or the first column all the way to the left, and the last column all the way to the right. It just does, there's no equivalent. There's stretch, which is close, but really stretch is almost just like flex start. So what are our, you could do center, which kind of shifts everything to the center. And then if we play with the width, we could go back to 48. That looks pretty close. So if we do, but is that, I think it's literally too close together. So yeah, do you see on the far right? It just doesn't make it all the way to the edge, which is pretty annoying. And you can't achieve this masonry layout in rows. It just does not work that way. You can only achieve this masonry layout with Flexbox. So this is how we're doing it. So this is it, baby. We're gonna do it like this because this still gets us the look that we want. We're still achieving the layout that we want, and I am happy with it. It's just not perfect. I don't love, the math doesn't math for me, and it feels like technical debt, and it's annoying. So, but we can write a little bit of JavaScript to calculate the height of the container, I guess, and then divide it in half to get our column. Yeah, the other thing is we're not going to get that fade in because everything's in columns now. So we're not going to get that. We're not going to get the transition, the animation. We really should just animate the entire container is what we should do. That's what we're going to do instead of the individual items. So, okay, so let's get this in. So this will be center. We have, it's a static site. We have the height. I'm not changing anything. This is good for now. And then let's container half width. So we just need to change the width for container. I'm going to do masonry container half width. This will be 44%. Oh, I mean, it still kind of works. All right. Should we just put data animation on everything? Maybe it just wasn't working correctly before. Yes. Now everything is triggering correctly. Good. Let's zoom in a little bit. This is a pretty big screen. So let's say that this is like a normal laptop. How would this look? Beautiful. Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't be a bad idea to calculate with maybe just calculate the height of your container with a little JavaScript. And then you could use your animation to your advantage. I have no idea if this was responsive. Let's see. Yeah, so this is what we're going to work on tomorrow is like maybe fixing, figuring out how we're going to make this layout responsive. So we'll just be reverse engineering. But let's make this sticky right here so we can see what that looks like on scroll. So we have, here's our container featured. Well, we've got main wrap container. Let's just do container featured. Featured position relative, and then blog item, me too. When you go freelance again, will you be seeing clients allowing you to stream yourself making their site? That's a great question. I don't think I'm going to, I would not stream building a client site because the client owns the work product. This is how I view it, and I don't know if the law views it differently. I think there are some, I think that this is well defined by the law, but I'm going to tell you how I do things. I don't, when I build things for clients, I consider that, yes, it's my work product, and they don't own like code snippets, they don't own JavaScript, they don't own HTML or CSS, but they own all of those things put together for their own sites. They are paying for that. So those repositories stay private. It's work product that stays private. And I don't share the whole of those projects with anybody else or make them available as open source for anybody else. I may use something, well, of course I'm using things that are open source to build the site, but the product is the collection of all those things put together with their branding and their content and their images. So I won't specifically stream. And and see, now I think that I'm reading your question a little bit differently as I'm talking. Will I allow them to watch me? Will I stream building their sites and allow them to watch that process? I'm here to tell you that is a terrible idea. Don't let your clients watch you work. Clients need a lot of hand holding, and I mean that in the best possible way. They need to be walked through the process, even experienced clients, because if you I guess I can only speak for myself. I am very intentional about at what point in time I am showing them work, how I'm presenting it, and I'm very much guiding those conversations. And I think I've mentioned this before. If you're freelancing and you're ready to you've set milestones for showing the work and getting feedback, do not send off a link and say, here you go, let me know what you think. You need to present those things. You need to add context. You need to guide the conversation, and you need to be there to answer questions, because I promise you they will focus on the wrong things and they won't understand what they're being shown. So short answer is no, because they own the content and the work, and you really shouldn't be sharing that kind of work product publicly. But even in a private stream, I would not let them watch me work. They don't need to see that. They don't need to watch me work. I'm not an employee, so they don't have any kind of right to watch me work. Yeah, so the short answer is no. And then the long answer is the thing I just spent 10 minutes saying. So, but that's a good question. If you were to freelance, is that something that you would consider doing? Just out of curiosity. I think it sounds like a terrible idea. And I love my clients. I do. I love my clients. But no, I don't want them to watch me work. Position sticky. I know there's something I'm supposed to be doing. There we go. There we go. I don't even think we need left. I think we just needed a top. So what if we do like 2 rems? There we go. That looks really nice. What do we think? What do we think? So let's close this. Clear this. I know some people stream client projects on Twitch, but no, I would not want the client to see how the sausages are made. That very succinct. It's a great way to describe it. Some people stream client projects on Twitch. Ooh, I mean, even legally, if that's okay, I have an ethical issue with that. I love the free and open web, think of everything that we do that's free and available and open source that we can turn around and go out and make money doing for other people, right? But when you're being paid to work on those projects, the culmination, the work product, the client, sorry, oh, I'm sorry, come here, you're fine. The client owns that. The client owns that. They've paid for that. So it's not that they own JavaScript or that they own React or they own Angular or they own whatever. That's not the point. They own the cumulative work product, and I don't think that should be shared. That's just my opinion. So, yeah, plus I just don't want to deal with it. I just don't want to deal with the questions. So, it's not a bad thing. It's I think the sign of a good freelancer is somebody who knows how to like answer questions and deal with the question that, you know, the crazy questions that clients have. But yeah, I'm loving this. I think that's fascinating that people think that that's okay. I have a ethical problem with that. I don't think you should be doing that. So, look at that. With that nice transition and the sticky featured image, this looks really nice. So tomorrow we are going to we're gonna have to deal with this layout on mobile. Oh, that's not too bad. Look at that. Uh, yeah, we just need to deal with the layout on mobile. Right? So I think tomorrow, I did not expect to have this nailed down today. So I think tomorrow we'll come up with a plan for mobile, which I don't think is going to be terribly difficult. Just a few, adjustments to the layout. And then let's play a little bit with some JavaScript calculating the height of the container and seeing if we can, there's some timing issues with that, right? Because the page needs to load, JavaScript needs to get the height of the container, divide it by 2, set an inline height, fixed height, and then make that all look smooth, right? So, but I think we're not asking a ton. We're not asking a lot. We're not asking anything that hasn't, like, far more complex things have been done. But I think we can leverage, since we are using these transitions and animate, we can really leverage that. So if there's any sort of delay on the load, we can kind of cover it up with an animation, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And that would help us deal with some of our technical debt, wouldn't it? We wouldn't have to keep an eye on that fixed height, and that would make these blog articles, because presumably you would build this, maybe you would do it in WordPress. I'm thinking that I'm going to take this and make a blog using Angular for a personal project. That's what I'm thinking I'm going to do. And I want to read content from an API, and I don't want to have to go in every time I add new blog content and recalculate the height of the container. So, and I want to be able to add any size image I want and not worry about it. So let's do that tomorrow. I think that'll be super fun. And then boom, we got an entire inner page done in a weekend. That's great. That's amazing. And I think that's totally doable tomorrow. And then next week, we really need to get started. We'll get started working on, these pages are basically identical. This page has a slider at the top. So these are basically inner blog pages. And I really wanted to build the slider from scratch using vanilla JavaScript. So let's plan to work on this next weekend. And this for sure is not going to get done in one weekend, because we have a lot of styles that are defined here, but there's a lot of things that aren't defined yet. Yeah, and I have a plan for comments also, which I'm excited. Uh-oh, you don't like sliders? Yeah, I know that they are. Listen, I also have mixed feelings about sliders, but sliders are a fact. They are a fact. And I would genuinely like to build one from scratch. I've never made a slider from scratch, and I would like to make one. So we're going to do it. We're going to build a slider from scratch. So I think this is looking great. So let's just, this feels more like laptop size. So let's see what happens when we and this is the other downside to using columns for a masonry layout. Now the flow of the content goes from top to bottom and not left to right. So if your blog content is, really timely and relies on going from left to right, which is like the normal kind of Western way of reading, right? You do lose that with columns. Just not an easy process to make sure they are accessible. I agree. Well, I mean, presumably I agree. I've never made one from scratch. So, but look forward to see you work through it. Thank you. In my mind, a slider is looping through an array and going forwards and backwards, right? You click a button to go forward, you click a button to go backward. The reason I want to do it myself is because I've seen so many overly complex sliders throughout the years. I feel like we can keep it simple. So that's my goal. That's my goal for next weekend, is to just keep it simple. But yeah, I'm super happy with this. I really love it. And we have enough room also that, if the orientation of this, in fact, we should test that tomorrow, putting in different orientations of images to make sure that this container is also supported. And we could widen the overall container here on this page too. There isn't anything that says we have to keep it at 1200 pixels. So, I mean, let's think about that as well. Let's make it a little wider. Yeah. All right, let's go ahead and get this pushed up. Not really going to check anything on mobile today because everything we did link-wise is really dependent on like a click, or excuse me, a hover. So, and you can't hover on a mobile device, and we don't have this page ready for a responsive layout yet. So we'll get the phone out tomorrow and check. But for today, I do at least want to go ahead and push this. All right. Nice. Let's see how things look on Firefox. Yep. Yeah, so this really wouldn't be suitable for something that was where the timing was. I mean, there are lots of blogs that are not time and date dependent. But if this was like a, news or, just something really timely, this layout probably wouldn't work in a column format. But I like it. I like it. Okay. This was a good one. This was a good sesh. I enjoyed this. Thank you to everybody who tuned in. Coding Professional, Nano Akia, Monique Robinson. Thank you so much for joining me. I love having you guys here. Appreciate everybody. And yeah, stop back tomorrow. We'll finish up the masonry layout, get her all working responsive. And yeah, and then onward and upward. Have a great day. Have a great rest of your day wherever you are. And I will talk to you later. Bye-bye.